Okay, folks, David Vinny here, your lab instructor for 168 this summer. And again, I want to make sure you understand that I only teach the lab portion of the course. I don't teach the lecture portion at all. So if you have any lecture questions, you need to contact Aaron Cook for that stuff. I'm just teaching the lab. So I thought I would open up the Moodle page quickly here and kind of show you what to expect when you can log in. Again, it's 8 o'clock right now on the 27th. You won't be able to log in until the 28th. So don't worry about that just yet. On the 28th you can. What you will see when you log in, though, first is the syllabus and the syllabus quiz. And that's all you'll be able to see up front. You won't be able to see anything else until you take that syllabus quiz. Then everything else should start to open up for you. Syllabus quiz should take you 5 or 10 minutes tops. I mean, it's just a few multiple choice questions, so no big deal there. And what you'll see as you start scrolling through is I've got week 1 stuff here, and I've tried to show you that it's all due on June the 3rd at 11:55 p.m. And I'm pretty strict on due dates because you're going to have at least a week to complete all this stuff, so there's really not much excuse in not getting this stuff turned in, which kind of brings a reminder: you should just don't procrastinate on this stuff. I cannot emphasize that enough. I know it's cliche for instructors to say that, but in an 8-week summer anatomy and physiology, I mean, it is just so easy to get behind when you start procrastinating. So stay on top of it. Don't wait until 30 minutes before the due date to start working on these labs, because you will not get them done if you do that. So what you'll do is you'll see where I have lab assignments, and some weeks look a little more daunting than others. Don't let that panic you, and I'll show you why. First, the PDFs are what you should think of as your lab manuals. So you'll open those up, you'll begin to read through them, and then these Word documents, the little things that have the hands beside them, that's where your Word documents will be. That's where you'll actually submit the assignment to me. So for instance, for the safety contract, I'll click on that, and you'll see it opens up a new page, and then right there's the Word document that you'll use to actually submit the assignments to me. So the first little assignment here, that safety PDF, that's, you're just reading through those and submitting that to me. It shouldn't take you 10 minutes, 15 minutes tops. This is the first actual lab you'll do, the pH and Homeostasis Lab. And so if I click on that, a couple things I want to show you there once it loads. Right, and so this is kind of what it'll look like. You'll have a bunch of kind of background material. It'll show you what the materials should look like. And it'll also, so here's the first activity, and notice these camera icons. Everywhere you see a camera icon, that's a place where you should be submitting pictures to me in your Word documents. And I only want one document. So if the PDF has you taking 10 pictures, then put all of those pictures in one document with the answers to the questions that come along in the lab, and submit that all to me as one document. I don't, and as a matter of fact, I restrict Moodle such that it only allows you to submit one document to me. Sometimes students get a little panicked because they don't have maybe Word. You can use Google Docs, that's not a problem. The only thing you need to be really careful of is a lot of Apple folks. Sometimes the default save in Apple is .pages files, so literally .pages. You should avoid saving it that way. Just go into the save file as and save it as a .docx, a .docs file. That usually works well in Moodle. The .pages files do not. And again, that's usually only a problem for Apple folks. But again, everywhere you see a camera icon, take a picture. And so right there, first page, there's 3 pictures you should take. Second page, there's another 2 more, so we're up to 5, 6, So you can see you're taking a lot of pictures already, and that just lets me see that you actually did the lab. Again, it's not uncommon for me to have students that try to submit labs that they didn't actually do, and all they try to do is answer the questions. I don't allow that. I have to see your pictures. If I don't see pictures in your labs, then to me you didn't do it, and those just automatically get zeros. So I have to see pictures that you've taken throughout the lab. Even if, so let's say you open up a PDF and there's not pictures there. If it's a lab that you're doing something, so sometimes I'll have just some labeling things for you to do. Obviously you don't have to take a picture of yourself labeling a picture. But if it's something you're actually doing, even if the PDF, so let's say you're dissecting something or doing your blood types or whatever, if the PDF doesn't tell you to take a picture, I still want to see a picture. Usually at least 3, so one at the start, one in the middle, and one at the end. And again, it just lets me see that you're actually doing the work. I've just been burnt too many times by students trying to pretend like they did the work when they really didn't. And this is really the only way I can kind of fight that. So let me go back. And so that was the PDF. Those are the instructions. Here, these are just some kind of helpful videos that I've uploaded in the past, and so I just carried them over. Kind of a when to submit pictures thing, which I kind of just went over. In this first lab, there's a test tube holder that you kind of have to put together, and I don't really think the PDF does a good job of telling you how to put that thing together, so I just put together a little short video there. But what you see here, this is kind of what you have to pay attention to, and let me try to highlight that if I can. Right, so these. Right, anywhere you see that little hand, that means that's an assignment, and that's where you're going to submit things to me. So you read this PDF, it tells you how to work through the lab, you'll work through the lab, and then this is the actual Word document that you'll submit in order for me to grade. Right, so just to give you an idea, let me click on that pH one and open it up. Right, and so you'll see here it's got the name of the lab. I want you to put your name and your date. And then we've got some charts in here, right, where you're taking some pHs. There's a few questions in there for you to answer. Activity 2, Activity 3, right? And so this is where you'll store all of your data and answer questions. And then this is what you're submitting to me along with your pictures. So sometimes in these Word documents, it might actually tell you to submit picture here. And if it doesn't do that, just in Activity 1 stuff, anything you took a picture of in Activity 1, just put it in the Activity 1 pages. And again, maybe you're not terribly familiar with how to put images into documents, but again, that's something that we can work through and kind of train you up on how to do that. So here, notice at the end of this document, it's got the different photos, right? So insert photo 1, photo 2, photo 3, so on and so forth. But just make sure you're submitting all the pictures that you should. Otherwise, again, you're not really doing the assignments if you don't do that. All right, let me go back to Moodle here. Right, so there's, for this first week, right, you've got the pH and Homeostasis Lab, and then you've got it's this Digestion Lab. This is kind of going over macromolecules, so what are carbs, what are starches, what are proteins, and how are they kind of digested. I use this lab in a couple ways. I can use it in Anatomy 2 for the Digestion Lab, but I can also use it here in A&P 1 just to kind of talk about macromolecules. Right? And so all of this first stuff, right, so all 3 of these are due June 3rd. You have a week to do it. I know this looks daunting, but I think once you kind of start working through this stuff, it's not quite as time-consuming as it looks. But you do have to manage your time. Right? And so then we'll go into week 2. Right? So week 2 stuff due on June 10th. And so notice how reduced this looks compared to the first. We got to go over safety stuff the first week. The first week you're doing some kind of cells, macromolecules type stuff that lends itself pretty well to labs. Week 2 kind of continue cells. There's not really a whole lot more there we can do with labs, so there's really only one thing for you to do for labs. And so you can knock that out pretty quick. Week 3 we go into tissues. Because you guys don't have microscopes, this just ends up being a PowerPoint that I put together that kind of asking you to identify tissues through, and then we go into things like bones and such as that. So again, week 1 looks like a lot, but it kind of tapers off a little bit after that. And then about halfway through, you'll have your first lab quiz. I'll talk more about that as we go on. And then as I just kind of scroll through here, you'll see, July 1st, July 8th, July 15th, so on and so forth. So the important thing here, again, make sure you're taking pictures, make sure you're submitting everything on time. If you have questions, ask me. The other thing I would say is make sure you read through the instructions for the labs before you do them. Again, I know that's cliche, but if you are just kind of going into a lab blindly, you're going to get lost. If you don't know where you're heading with a lab, then it's pretty easy to get lost and not understand, well, why am I doing this or why am I doing that? So read through them first and then start to do them. I would suggest giving yourself plenty of physical space to work on these labs too. So you probably don't want to try to work on these labs in your recliner. It's just not going to work very well. So clear off a space that you can work, and that'll make things go a little more smoothly too. The other thing is if you're missing something, that's not something I can do a whole lot about myself. You'll have to contact Carolina if you're missing items. That's usually not a problem though. They're pretty good at putting everything in there. If you are missing something though, and you do want to reach out to me, if you live close to campus, I might have something that I can give you. So for instance, when you're doing the cells lab, if you, for whatever reason, they didn't give you dialysis tubing, then I have plenty of that on campus. You can swing by. My office hours are from 10 until 12, Monday through Friday. So if you want to swing by sometime, let me know, and I can put some out for you. You can come by and get it for me, whatever. So make sure you're submitting pictures. Make sure you're taking your own pictures. Don't try to pull pictures from the internet. That never works well. You will get caught. Submit your stuff on time. Don't procrastinate. Stay on top of all this, and you're not going to have many problems. Problems arise when students get behind in online classes in the summer. So don't do that. Don't get behind. Remember, this is also just the lab portion. You have the lecture portion as well to keep up with. So if you have any questions, just reach out to me through the semester, and we should be good to go. Talk to you soon.